Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Wilmac Wire. We are full force with season 3. We've upgraded from bi-weekly episodes to now weekly episodes. So Steve and I are getting the chance to chat with a lot of great people more often. That being said, today's guest is no exception. Local to Rochester, we're speaking with Mike Collier, the CEO of Foundry, which is a Bitcoin mining company and is also the largest US-based mining pool, if you can believe it, based right here in Rochester. Mike is a tech innovator and a leader in Rochester. In today's conversation with Mike, Steve and I really dig into Bitcoin mining and how Mike got into it, coming from the private equity side of business. We discuss how energy plays a part in the cryptocurrency industry and where AI is becoming more involved. But beyond the more technical Bitcoin cryptocurrency conversation, we also dig into why Mike chose to build Foundry in Rochester and how that kind of came about, how he's pulling talent from here locally, but then he's also tapping into the talent across the United States, So it was a really, really interesting conversation. I learned a ton. And that's how I feel pretty much with all of our guests that we're speaking with. We love to speak with drivers across kind of 2 different buckets. Wilmac's industry that we operate in, customer interaction technology, so our customers, our partners, and influential leaders across the space. And then also drivers local to Rochester, to Western New York and Central New York that are really facilitating change within their respective industries. And Mike is one of those people. So enough said for the intro. I'm going to turn it over to our conversation with Mr. Mike Collier. Enjoy. Welcome to the Wilmac Wire. I'm Emily Miller, joined by my co-host, Steve McDonnell. On this show, we talk with the drivers, the leaders, innovators, and decision makers pushing customer interaction technology and AI forward. And because we're proud to call Western New York home, we also spotlight the drivers in our own community, the people and organizations shaping growth and innovation right here. Let's get into it. All right, coming in at 5'10" from Rochester, New York, holding a bachelor's degree in civil engineering and an MBA in corporate finance from the University at Buffalo, starting his career at General Electric, ooh, that was a tough one, and serving as an operational and commercial executive for manufacturing and distribution firms for more than 2 decades before jumping into the crypto world. Mike and his wife co-founded the Colyer Foundation, a nonprofit supporting families with sick children, and Mike became the founding CEO of Foundry, a leader in decentralized infrastructure across the globe and establishing the world's largest Bitcoin mining pool. Welcome to the Wilmac Wire, Mike Collier.
Well, thank you, Emily. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you here. And
that was an earful.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, wow.
It was an impressive bio that your team sent over. It was an impressive bio. I had to pick and choose. But Mike, so you're originally from Rochester?
I am. Yeah,
okay.
Victor.
Victor?
Yeah.
All right.
Victor's grown quite a bit.
Yeah, back when I went to school there, no one went to Victor, right? It was like farmland.
I went to Fairport. And
yeah, you never went to Victor.
Now it's the biggest town.
Poppin'.
It's a great place. I love it.
Yeah.
Do you live there now?
I live there now, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and did you ever go away at some point and come back?
Absolutely. I went to school at the University of Buffalo.
Yep.
So I went down the road and then started my career at GE and had to move to Erie, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Which is not the most popular place to move. Spent 5 years in Erie. Came back to Rochester quickly and then ended up in Rhode Island.
Okay.
And then down in Texas, almost in Philadelphia, and then actually got relocated back to Rochester.
That's ironic.
20 years ago.
Wow.
20 years ago.
Was it your choice or did you just happenstance
No, it was
relocated?
This is part of my career where I was in kind of the private equity space as a hired gun. I was getting sent to Philadelphia to their corporate headquarters. And then literally at the last minute, they said, no, we want you to go up to Rochester and run business up in Rochester. So I came up here and ended up staying. Yeah, it's amazing. So we had no plans of coming back home.
Yeah.
But did. My wife and I are, I would say, high school sweethearts. Yeah. We didn't date in high school, but in college. And so we both got to move back home.
Hey, that's great.
Yeah, it was great. It's wonderful. It's been great. I love, Rochester. I don't think we should talk about it too much. It's like, shh. this is a really great place to live. You know,
we literally had
We just had this conversation.
who lived in Manhattan for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
He's a investment banker, and he said the same thing. He came back. He's from Syracuse, but he came to Rochester. He's like, I don't like to tell anyone about Rochester because I don't want more people coming.
yeah, that's the traffic.
Yeah.
But it's a great place to raise a family. It's been wonderful.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So Mike, you hold a bachelor's degree in civil engineering and an MBA in corporate finance. We actually swapped. So I came from Buffalo to Rochester. You
Nice.
came
Go
from
Bills.
Rochester to
Go
Bills.
Bills.
Oh yeah, we're all
yeah.
Go Bills. All right,
Bills.
diehard Bills.
Yep. Going to the game next weekend, actually. But can you walk us through your career journey a little bit? You touched on it about the places you traveled, but how has it evolved into Bitcoin now?
Yeah. So I had an opportunity to go to the University of Buffalo. I didn't know what I wanted to do other than I thought I would be an engineer. My dad was a mason contractor. And so I grew up kind of digging ditches, pouring concrete, carrying blocks. I knew I didn't want to do that the rest of my life, but couldn't imagine working inside. So I went to be a civil engineer.
Okay.
And then halfway through, I'm like, oh, I don't have a passion for civil engineering. So I'm like, well, what can I do? And I got my MBA.
Okay.
And then I got hired into GE on their leadership program, which was an incredible place to work to start a career. And that was back, GE was the biggest company in the world, the most admired company in the world, the Jack Welch days. So it was exponential learning during my time at GE. And then I got connected with some folks that were in the private equity space, ex-GE people. So we'd go in to different companies and kind of fix companies, right? Turn them around, take the GE playbook and apply it to traditional companies.
Were you the operator for the private
I was.
equity?
I was on the operator. I was like the hired
send
gun.
you in.
I was the hired gun. Yeah, I didn't sit on the private equity
Yep.
side of it. And then in 2017, one of those gigs ended. And as I like to say, my wife said, "Please take the summer off." Like I just pretty much always work, take vacations and stuff. But and we did go on vacation, and I read a book, and came back and read it was about the future of mankind. And I read when I got back, I read about Bitcoin, and I was like, wow, this is still here. And I pretty much spent the next month 15 hours a day going down the Bitcoin rabbit hole, learning everything I could. This is 2017. It's almost 9 years ago. And was just blown away. And it reminded me of the start of the internet. So I was in college when the internet came out. So I remember the first browsers, and I was too chicken to move to California. Like you had to go to Silicon Valley to participate.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, the idea that you can transfer value electronically without a middleman changes everything. And it doesn't happen that often in a lifetime. And I thought, I'm going to lean into this. So I decided to go all in.
Okay.
So I went all in on Bitcoin. The only thing that made sense to me was Bitcoin mining. So I started from the bottom and taught myself Bitcoin mining. And then it's been a wild ride ever since.
That's really cool.
Before we jump into that,
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious about your PE background.
Oh yeah.
Deal with it. We've had a couple guests on, but we're I wouldn't call it startup at this point, but we are ARR and all that. So we deal with private equities a lot, or I talk to private equities quite a bit. And it's interesting to see the both sides. And did they bring you in? So a lot of times I feel like these operators at these places have founded a company. They got acquired by the PE firm.
Yep.
It happened to go real well. And they're like, let's just hire you as a gun for all these other companies that we're trying to do.
Yes.
Did they basically recruit you out of GE and they're like, I love how GE runs a business and these guys know what they're doing. They should operate the same playbook? How did that?
Yeah. So, I mean, this was, you got to go back 15, 20 years ago. I think there was a bunch of ex-GE executives that joined PE firms. They kind of had the playbook that worked at GE, and they said, we can go duplicate this in other industries. So, so then they would reach back to who knows the playbook? Who are the people that get it? Who can just come in and hit the ground running?
Were they buying any specific types of companies? Industries?
For me, I was always in the industrial, either manufacturing and then distribution.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just walk in, you don't know the industry.
Yeah.
You have to learn it really quick, but there's certain things that are important, right? So metrics, KPIs, process, people, a lot of focus on people, making sure you got the right people in the right seats, putting the right incentives in place. And so it was fun. I
was going to say, was it exciting
absolutely.
going in? And
Exciting. I got to work with some amazing people. We built some amazing teams, and I've been fortunate that to do it in my hometown was exciting. So I ran a company called Ward's Natural Science. I mean, we literally sold science products to pretty much every school in the country, right?
Really?
So any hands-on science material, we were the biggest.
And coming out of Rochester.
Out of Rochester. Ward's Natural Science has been here 150 years.
Oh my gosh.
So I was one of the things I was really proud about is I was able to get Henry Ward inducted into the Rochester Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's
I mean, he died 100 years ago, but it's just a really cool business, really important business, mission driven. And it was great. I loved it. It was so much fun. It was very different than GE. I built locomotives.
Yeah.
I worked at Textron and Bell Helicopter. We built the V-22 Osprey, did a lot of different things. And then all of a sudden I'm running a science education company, fairly young. I mean, I was probably 30 years old.
Wow.
31 years old.
Jeez.
they have a lot of employees?
I think we had 400 plus at the peak. So it was super exciting. It was great. And then, to be able to come back here, be back in Rochester and then decide to do a startup, which I had never done before, right? So I started from scratch and met pretty much everybody in the industry, went to all the conferences, did all that kind of stuff, and then had an opportunity to get connected with DCG, which was Barry Silbert, who was an early investor in Bitcoin. And we started Foundry.
I was going to say, so you already had a network of people who know what they're doing, raising money and stuff. So did you tap into that, or you just happened to
So
meet
for
him?
me, it was I had it pretty easy from that standpoint, where we're wholly owned by the Digital Currency Group. So I have one investor. So it makes it super easy. And what I enjoyed the most was Barry took a very long-term view. So he basically said, hey, think in terms of decades. Here's a blank sheet of paper, figure out how to leverage DCG's brand, balance sheet, everything to create the mining ecosystem in North America. So Bitcoin mining was dominated by the Chinese. They made the machines, they had most of the hash rate, they had the pools, they controlled the network. And our thesis was, Bitcoin's going more mainstream. It'll never go mainstream if it's dominated by and controlled by the Chinese. We have to get more hash rate into North America, which has been the mission of Foundry from day one. And we've basically done anything and everything we can to help make that happen. So we started with providing equipment financing to the miners. We bought all the machines we could buy to get them at the hash rate into the US. We launched the pool. We launched a lot of other services to help miners thrive in North America. And today, there are 20, 30 plus publicly traded Bitcoin miners. They depend on us. And a lot of them got their start from us. So we really wanted to build this ecosystem in North America.
So you were coming from PE, which I don't know about back then, but it's, a 5 to 7 year horizon they're normally looking at. And now this investor said you have decades to we're in on this. That'd be awesome, first of all, but a change on how to set up the business from what you're used to in the PE world.
Totally. And it took some adjusting. And the crypto space moves fast. I mean, every 90 days it feels like a new industry, right? So I always laugh when we're talking about a 2-year plan, because I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen in April, So, so having that freedom to be able to move quickly. I mean, it's one of our core values is being nimble. Bend, don't break. We have to be super nimble and flexible in terms of what we're doing.
How did you get yourself into the ecosystem of crypto? How are all these the mining companies? How did you get yourself out there at the beginning of this?
Yeah, so I think that's a really good question, and I'm not sure your listeners, but like for me, when I made the decision that I was going to lean into crypto and I was going to go all in, right? I wasn't getting paid.
Yeah.
I had to learn the space from the bottom up.
Right.
I'm in my mid 40s, right? So I had a lot at risk in terms of like taking a chance. There was no blockchain meetup in Rochester, and I found one in Buffalo.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's surprising.
Exactly. And I drove to Buffalo every Tuesday morning for an 8 o'clock meeting where I'd show up and it was like coffee. And there was a bunch of people, developers, investors that were all exploring the space.
Interesting.
I'd spend an hour or two. I was the only person with like a pad of paper and a pen. I'd write everything down. I'd go home. I'd Google it all. I'd get a list of questions and I'd go back the next week. And I did that for a year, actually, every Tuesday.
Wow.
And that's how I learned the space. And I met some amazing people. There's really a pretty strong crypto contingent in Buffalo, and it's great. Friends, I still have friends from those early days. And then I just was like, all right, what industries or what trade shows are there? I'm going to go travel. I'm going to start meeting people. I'm in YPO. So I don't know if you guys have tapped into the YPO network. We have a very strong chapter in Western New York. So then I leaned into the YPO global network and found literally like one other person that was talking about Bitcoin at the time, connected with them. And then just started like,
going.
you put the energy and effort into it. And being persistent. I think, I became a real believer in this. And so I had a lot of passion for it. And then I think, persistence conquers all. So I wasn't willing to give up.
It is interesting. Bitcoin scares people if they're not educated on
it's
it.
wild.
Even today, even though it's been going on for quite a bit.
Yeah.
I would say most of my friends and myself have some sort of investment, just in case. But it fluctuates and stuff. So I'm sure it's tough overall for the business that is changing constantly and you're still trying to get over. I would say it's not nearly as bad as what it was 5-10 years ago, but there's still a scary perception, so to speak. You probably don't have to deal with the complete end user on this stuff, but overall, is that a challenge at all for you? With being the infrastructure company?
Look, I think there's so much that's misunderstood.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to go down the Bitcoin rabbit hole because as you start to, it's one of these things I tell people, like I spend zero time trying to convince anybody that they should own Bitcoin, right? Like I'm like, hey, that's up to you. But you need to do your own research. And what I find is when people buy a little bit, like everyone thinks you got to buy, a $90,000 Bitcoin. No, you can buy $10 worth of Bitcoin. Once you cross that chasm and you buy the $10 of Bitcoin, you start doing your research. I've yet to meet anybody who at the end of their journey that doesn't say, oh my God, I need more. Like I don't own enough of this. And it really has opened my mind to other like gaps, blind spots I had that I wasn't really paying attention to. And then I've had to learn about, the Federal Reserve and money printing and how the global economies work. And as I learn more and more, it's like, oh, wow, I don't know if I own enough Bitcoin. And so it's a fascinating journey. Yeah.
For someone who's, taking the lead in the industry, I'm sure you're learning. You have to learn.
You're pioneering.
Date. I mean,
it's
getting as much intel as possible.
Constant consumption of information. Yeah. And it's amazing the tools that are out there. And like our entire industry lives on like crypto Twitter. Like I was never on Twitter before I got into the space. I was like,
to say.
I didn't do any social media or anything. And I'm like, all right, I got to get on Twitter. And now my kids are all yelling at me because they're like, you're always on there. And I'm like, yeah, but my industry's happening real time right now.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So obviously you have all this great knowledge. Do all your employees look at it as like, hey, not just a job, but I'm in on the Bitcoin and
It's a great question. So at Foundry, we've gone through over the last 6 years, we've gone through a few different like life cycles and evolved as a company. We have, I think, done a really good job of blending like hardcore Bitcoiners, crypto people, with folks that don't know anything about it. They have a certain skill knowledge, right? And as those people that don't understand the industry, as they come in, they learn, we're a regular business. You need somebody to do marketing. You need somebody to do accounting. You need, a controller. Right. And a lot of times those positions may not have a strong interest in crypto, but what we find over time is they all of a sudden become a believer for sure.
Are you able to recruit like diehard Bitcoin people that have been that just believe and they're like, I want to be part of this team because I'm fully invested in this?
For me, it's been the most rewarding part of this journey is the idea that we've been able to create jobs to allow people to participate in the ecosystem, right? When I got started, there was not a lot of jobs in the crypto market. So our employment, we've gone from just me to over 300 employees. Then we split the company into multiple companies. And, so we've kind of gone through this huge evolution, but we've given a lot of people the opportunity to work within the crypto industry. And I just think that's like the best gift ever. We also have been able to recruit the best tech talent in Rochester. Who are people that are closet crypto people. They're doing their day job, and then they're like, "Oh my God, I can work full time in the industry." And they come over, and these folks are some of the brightest, best engineers in town. I mean, it's incredible.
So I know Steve probably wants to bring this up, but like when you're talking about recruiting locally, like are you talking about RIT and those type, like U of R, those types of colleges? Because we've found success in building our development team from RIT and their co-ops.
Yeah, look at one of the advantages of Western New York is our education system, right? So whether it's RIT, U of R, Cornell, University of Buffalo, the amount of talent we have is cool. Crazy, and there's a limited opportunity for these kids.
So a lot of the top talent's going out to Silicon
leave.
Valley.
And a lot of times they don't want to necessarily, right? So we absolutely have leveraged the local universities, but even unfortunately for even local companies, I say like, hey, some of your best engineers, they're closet crypto people, and they're very excited to do it.
It's exciting for them.
Yeah.
Are most of your employees around the region, or are you?
I started out with a band, like really wanting to have everybody in Rochester, and then COVID hit, and this whole remote thing became the reality. So we're, I don't know, we're probably like 50-50 maybe, 40% Rochester, 60%
all over.
All over. Yeah. Some of our early folks I made relocate to Rochester. Like we had an engineer who was in Japan that we really wanted. He really wanted to work for Foundry. I'm like, sorry, but you have to move to Rochester. And he got up and moved to Rochester, which was amazing.
Wow.
And then after a while, we let him go back.
Yeah.
It's over. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
And do you have to travel a lot?
I do. Yeah. Conferences, customers.
Right. From what I've heard too, my sister-in-law works at Foundry, and she's on that sales side. She always talks about like the extensiveness of the conferences and how huge some of them are.
Oh, yeah. And it depends on the price of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Wild.
It fluctuates with
When Bitcoin's ripping, the conferences are out of control. I tend not to want to go. It's like, I'd rather avoid it.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny. So Foundry is the world's largest Bitcoin mining pool. Obviously, like you talked about, it was originally kind of more prevalent in China. Like, what differentiates Foundry from other mining pools or infrastructure providers in the space in general?
Yeah, so we essentially provide like an orchestration level for the miners to mine Bitcoin. So 30% of all Bitcoin mined every day flows through Foundry.
Wow.
On a yearly basis, that's like $5 to $6 billion worth of Bitcoin. Wow is, like it's happening right here in Rochester, New York. What we are doing and the amount of machines and what we call hash rate that's connected to the pool is beyond anything anyone's ever done. Like we're literally doing something that nobody else in the world has ever done before. And we do it better than anybody. it's fascinating. We do it right here in Rochester. Like it's
Yeah, I was going to say that my next two questions would be, out of those other that 70%, is it one or two other big companies like you, or is it just a mosh posh of a ton of companies and you have the big market share?
So there's probably 3 other dominant players, and they're all Chinese.
But in the U.S., miners will still use the Chinese.
Everyone pretty much uses us.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And so
I don't think people in Rochester realize that.
No,
Or
no,
they don't know this, that you guys are sitting here. I think that's the reality of it.
Yeah,
And Rochester, as much as we've talked to people and stuff, our ecosystem doesn't do a very good job helping startups or younger companies
who are here
push
elevate
up and
versus
get well
bringing
known in the area.
Yeah.
Is what we've kind of seen.
It's super challenging to try to get on the radar locally.
Yep.
And for us, it was like, all right, well, we don't have a lot of business locally. I mean, we do want to attract and recruit talent.
Yeah.
We did a bunch of efforts early on, and it was just kind of like, all right. But Digital Currency Group is the most prolific investor in the crypto industry. I mean, DCG's invested in 300 plus companies, and they've invested in Rochester, right? Like, when was the last time we had a massive VC company come invest in Rochester? Like, I don't know. I can't come up with any other names. And and now we've spun out another company. It's a company called Fortitude, which is our self-mining business.
Yes. Okay.
And that's a super exciting company. It's rocketing. It's based here in Rochester as well. Andrea Childs is the CEO of that business.
So what are they doing?
She was my second employee.
Wow.
As we grew Foundry, she was a big part of growing Foundry. And we decided to spin that off. She had the opportunity to step in and run that company. And they're a self-miner. So they have machines plugged in all over the United States. And they're an actual miner.
Yeah.
And then they use Foundry. They're a customer now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's crazy. So it's really 2 companies in Rochester.
Right.
Where are the rest of the self-miners located all throughout the United States, or are they segregated to the big Silicon Valley, Boston?
No. So for mining, it's all about the price of electricity. So you're going to wherever there's the cheapest power.
Okay.
Now, when I started, I was like, okay, you need cold temperatures and you need cheap power. Some of the cheapest power is hydropower. Like Western New York should be the center of excellence.
Water?
No. So
it should be.
Western New York should be center of excellence for Bitcoin mining, right? The center for the United States. Instead, I went to Texas. So Texas,
that's where
is essentially the Texas governor said, we have lots of excess power. Come on in and we'll sell you this excess power. And unfortunately, New York State is like not interested, which is super frustrating.
Yeah, Texas,
super frustrating.
Texas seems open for business a bit more than New York.
New York, yeah. It's really.
So, are you going down to Texas where your customers are?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A lot happening in Texas. Of course, it's all in West Texas, which they say is God's country because only God could love it out there.
Yeah.
So
I'm currently watching a TV show called Landman that is all about
me
West
too.
Texas.
Guess what? We're co-located.
That's where you're
co-located
so
with
that's
all those
where you're
folks.
going. Yeah.
This show has come up like 3 times this week. I'm going to have to check it out.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, that is an interesting area.
Yeah. All right. But if you don't have any other questions, Steve, around this, I want to ask a little bit because Wilmac, we deal with a lot of very heavily regulated institutions, your banks, your healthcare, insurance. Like we work with their data. They have to keep that data for a significant amount of time. Can you explain a little bit to Steve and I and our listeners about where regulations for Bitcoin is at currently?
I'll do the best I can from a policy perspective.
Yeah.
Essentially, we spent, as an industry, we spent 4 years with government trying to literally shut down the industry, right? I don't know if you guys
they were
choke point 2.0 where they were basically cutting off everyone's bank accounts and it was scary.
Yeah.
It was very eye-opening in terms of wow, I live in the United States. I can't believe that they can get away with doing this. Like, it was just mind blowing to me. And now we live in an environment where the administration is pro crypto, and so everything we've built for 4 years with the government trying to literally shut the industry down, we survived, and now we've got a regulatory environment that's encouraging. Like, we want to be the center of excellence around the world for crypto. We need to create the structures to allow this industry to thrive. So you're seeing a lot of stuff coming through that's really driving clarity. You know, this is the biggest misconception, I think, is for being in the crypto industry. It's like, just tell us what the rules of the road are. Like, and the last, to be honest with you, the last administration was like, no, we're not going to define those rules. And then you're like, well, how do we know how to operate?
Right.
And they're like, good luck.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And the industry is basically saying, please just tell us what the rules are. So we're getting a lot of clarity now, and it's super exciting. And I kind of view it, you know, it's the same. I always say, like, I'm glad the internet was built in the United States.
Yeah.
Sergey Bin, like the Russian, like, it could have been built in Russia.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the fact that the United States leaned in and said, we want to give this industry, the internet, space to grow and thrive, was maybe one of the greatest decisions of, you know, the 1990s.
And so you're on board with it. We're trying to bring it in-house now, in the United States. It seems like with what we're
crypto,
doing instead of getting it.
So I think the administration, the current administration, clearly recognizes, like, oh wow, we do not want this built outside the United States, because we don't want to live by someone else's rules. Right? I don't want to live by China's rules.
Is it, speaking of podcasts, I think the guy that Trump tapped, David Sachs. Do you know?
Oh my God, yeah, David Sachs is amazing.
He's unbelievable. He has a great podcast.
Yeah.
All in one. That's
All In.
phenomenal.
The All In podcast, I think, is one of the
best.
Yeah. Like, if you have an hour a week, you should listen to the All In podcast. It's a fascinating take on everything that's happening. I think it's fairly well balanced, actually.
They do a good job.
They argue
They definitely do.
the different sides. Like, it's really, like, that's where
It's a great podcast.
Yeah.
I'm a weekly listener.
amazing.
So to our listeners, you cue the Wilmac Wire first, and then all in. David Sachs.
Sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We're that
Gotcha.
But David Sachs is kind of leading the charge.
Yeah, he's
In
the
DC.
crypto AI czar, and trying to do the right thing, right?
Yeah.
Trying to put in the right rules and
Do
regulations.
you still have to be a part of that, or are you kind of just like, all right, seems like we're getting clarity. I don't have to. I'll just
No,
see what
absolutely.
happens.
We go down to Washington D.C., walk the halls, speak to
the whole thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Heavily engaged in public policy.
How's that?
It's interesting. It's super hard, and it doesn't always make sense. Kind of it's. I feel for the politicians, because they have a lot of topics that they need to, like, get smart on, and these particular topics you need to put the time and energy in to get smart, and they just don't have it. So it's really hard, I think, for them to have a good view or a clear view. We're starting to see a lot of stuff, like, around AI now. Like, all the focus is now on AI, and oh my God, like, what's it going to do? And I'm always been a believer that we should lean into technology, embrace it, and for the most part, throughout the history of mankind, we've always ended up in a better spot. There are definitely losers. Some people lose in the technology switch, but that's a good thing. I'm glad I don't ride around on a horse. I'm glad I don't have to take 100%. The Erie Canal.
Yeah.
Our lives are,
way better.
The middle class or even lower class person now is living a hell of a lot better than a king 200 years ago.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I at the same time, I do think, for me, what I'm excited about with something like Bitcoin is the fact that anybody can opt into it. It's available to everybody. So I always got frustrated because it seemed like the best investment deals went to insiders. It went to a group of people in New York City. People had you know, you had to be a qualified investor. And I'm like, what is that all about? And the reality is you can buy Bitcoin right now and you can front run the majority of the people. There's only 21 million Bitcoin available. As I thought about the thesis around Bitcoin, I was like, geez, if I'm right about sound money and digital money and the ability to transfer value electronically without anybody in the middle, if this thesis plays out, there's going to be a lot of demand to want to own a Bitcoin. And for me, I was like, geez, if I could just have one Bitcoin for each kid, there'll be one of 21 million someday.
Yeah.
And of course, Bitcoin was like $3,000 at the time. And I was like, if I'm wrong, then
It's not the end of the world.
Not the end of the world. And the reality is most people still don't have a large exposure to crypto. So it doesn't matter who you are. You can invest, and you can invest in front of all the big banks. All these people are just now starting to get into it.
I mean,
And how many opportunities do you get like that in a lifetime?
you still talk to people in the wealth management world, and sometimes they'll push you away from Bitcoin, and they're looking to get you into safer or things that they've done forever. It's still not that.
Oh, absolutely.
I thought JP Morgan's finally
Finally
opening up a division.
And they're finally saying, like, to their clients just now.
Yeah, but it's
You know
taken a
what?
while.
If you want to have 3 to 5% allocation to crypto, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like they're basically giving their clients permission now for 3 to 5% exposure to the asset
Taken
class.
a long time.
They've basically for the last 10 years they've been telling their customers, this is garbage, you
Correct,
shouldn't,
yeah.
this is bad. Now it's like, oh, maybe you should now. It's like, okay, well, you're kind of late to the game.
And I think it's still, it's like good press or something. It's still, people still get a little scared of it. Younger people, I think, like it to buy Bitcoin too. It's exciting, the day trader or whatever. It's exciting stuff. But they still probably have a reputation in a certain age group where they're like, yeah, I don't understand it. That's probably number one. I don't understand it, so I'm not going to buy it. It's scary. And as you said, you got to dive in and put in the time to really understand it. Is there any TV shows or anything that are like CNBC that I see it? They covered a bit, but not like the other stuff.
I mean, today there is so much material online regarding
all the AI tools, how
Bitcoin, like learning about it, right? Like there's lots of podcasts, there's lots of YouTube videos, there's lots of websites that kind of walk you through.
Yeah.
And I think there tends to be this desire of people like, oh, well, I don't understand it all. And it's like, well, you use your phone all day. How do they deliver a Netflix video to your phone while you're flying? Like, you don't know how that works either.
Yeah.
But we're glad it does, right? And I think that's where like all the crypto stuff will be is like, you don't need to know all the details on how it works. One analogy that helped me was this idea that like the internet's run on protocols like TCP/IP, SMTP, FTP, right? Like if you want to send a file, you use this FTP protocol. We don't know how any of those protocols actually work, right? They exist.
Yeah.
They were given away to the world for free. That's why we can use the internet. Bitcoin is essentially a protocol layer to move money. And when you own a little bit of that, as more people want to move value through the Bitcoin network, you get to participate in that network. Okay. And that's where the value accretion comes from. So it's kind of like if you could have invested in SMTP when email came out, and every time somebody sent an email, you got a fraction of a penny, you'd be worth a lot of money. And that's kind of how I think about investing in the network is you're investing at this protocol layer. So
that's an interest.
It's a really, I think it's a powerful analogy to kind of get your head wrapped around what this is.
Yeah. All right. We've talked a lot about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But you talked a little bit about growing Foundry here in Rochester, how different employees, you have employees all over the nation, but you do have a headquarters here in Rochester. Like, why did you decide to start it here? And then do you feel like you've seen success in the region? We've talked a little bit about this before we started, but if you could expand more on that.
Yeah, I mean, why we started in Rochester. One reason was I was living here.
Yep.
DCG was headquartered in New York City, and I said I don't want to move to New York City.
Yeah.
And Barry said, "Good, build a business in Rochester."
Okay.
And then he asked me, "Why would you do it in Rochester?" And I said, "Look, we've got an amazing base of talent. It's a great place to live. Why not?" Right?
Yeah.
And it's played out.
Yeah.
And we do. We have an incredible employee base here in Rochester. Great people, super dedicated, passionate. They're excited because they can work on leading ed technology.
Yeah.
In Rochester.
In Rochester,
Yeah.
right? And it's wild.
Yeah. Very cool.
What's the company's game plan? Like, keep growing it? Do you want an IPO? Do you have that? Or if you don't feel comfortable sharing?
Look at I think earlier I said this industry changes every 90 days, right? So what are we going to do over the next few years? A great question. We sit at the core of the Bitcoin mining ecosystem. So we really are critical infrastructure for the Bitcoin network. We kind of view it, like at some point nation states will be trading with each other using Bitcoin. And to use Bitcoin, you need to be able to get your transactions onto the network. The way you get your transactions onto the network is through the miners and through the mining pool. So we kind of view it as a national strategic asset, actually. So we're doubling down on hardening our tech stack and making sure that we're as robust as possible from that standpoint, because the value we're moving continues to go up, and it's really important.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
I mean, do you travel internationally?
I do. I mean, I do.
Do you see, like, obviously that's your thesis that this is going to happen. Do you have a time frame for it? Are you like, how it's growing, it's doing well, but is there anything back behind that you think it'll eventually get there with the nation states?
We said, like biggest miners will be nation states, energy companies. We are now seeing that play out. So there are absolutely certain countries that have access to a lot of energy. They built a giant dam, but they don't have enough industry. So they're like, okay, we're going to get into Bitcoin mining. I've been in the Middle East. I mean, it's hard to downtown Abu Dhabi, which is just an incredible place that they built in the desert, has 200 megawatts worth of Bitcoin mining in the middle of the city. And they have it there because it helps them balance their grid. It's a controllable load they can turn on and off. So they can monetize their electricity production. And in the summer months when everyone's got their air conditioning cranked all the way up, they turn it off. And in the winter when they don't need the air conditioning as much, they mine Bitcoin.
Wow.
So it's wild to see it actually, like, these are all things we talked about.
Now it's happening.
And it's actually happening. Yeah. Texas used to have rolling blackouts.
Yep.
We haven't heard that in a while. Guess what? When it gets cold or really hot in Texas, 1 or 2 gigawatts worth of power turns off from the miners in an instant. And we see all of that. Like all those miners are connected to us, and then they turn off and then they come back on. And that helps Texas balance their grid.
That's wild.
That's interesting.
It's
I didn't know
wild.
that.
Yeah,
It's
that's
wild. Now, the politicians don't want to talk about it. They don't want to acknowledge it. The utilities are now coming to us saying, we need you as a strategic asset for the grid. We need you to help balance the grid. It's incredible.
Yeah, I had not gotten that deep, I guess, into it. Why wouldn't the politicians? They just don't want.
It's easy to vilify
Yeah.
Bitcoin miners. What value does it bring? Whatever.
I think that, like we've talked about, it comes back to that, like, they don't want to put in the effort to figure out,
To
and
learn.
learn what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Interesting. Jeez. got the wheels turning, Mike.
Yeah.
Say the least.
Be careful.
Yeah.
It's a deep rabbit hole you start going down.
Yeah, it is. Like, I think you said that multiple times too. And every time I'm like, yeah, we'll just get a little deeper. That's okay. Okay. I mean, do you have anything else? I mean, we've touched on a lot of great stuff.
I was going to get to all the limits of the business environment in Rochester, but we kind of danced around it. And I think,
you know what I would love
that it's
in Rochester?
difficult.
And they've asked me, like, what can we do to help? I want a commuter flight to New York City.
That's sick.
Give me 4 or 5 options to get to New York City every day. Price it at $79 a ticket whenever I want, and I can just jump on the plane and fly down to New York. Because there's lots of meetings down there. You don't have to be down there all the time. Like to me, it's like such an obvious.
I was just say you're preaching to the choir over
it's like
here.
such an obvious thing for Rochester, New York City to. Even people living in New York City, I'm like, why do you let these people move to New Jersey or Connecticut? Like, they literally could relocate up here and just commute back and forth. It's super easy.
I do the day trip a lot, the 5:50 flight.
Yeah.
And then 10:30 at night coming.
Oh, yeah, it's wonderful. I've probably seen we've been on that flight together multiple times. And you're like it
is ridiculous how they don't have that.
Yeah, but why not give us more options?
Yeah.
And don't make me spend $500.
Did they? Yeah, no, that part's.
It's like, come on.
Did they have more options before COVID? I wasn't living up here at that point. And then COVID kind of shut down and they never brought them back?
No, I mean,
or they've just never.
The reality is once Kodak and Xerox
they gave it all up.
Yeah. When all the big corporations kind of died down, then, and the Rochester economy now is what, mostly healthcare, service
Higher
business, higher ed.
Yeah. Not traveling.
Yeah, the Wegmans guys, I don't think are flying down to New York City.
Commercially, at least.
No.
Yeah. That's right. So.
Oh, man. Awesome. All right. Mike, or before we wrap up, are there any things that you're working on at Foundry or any other message that you'd like our listeners to hear while we have you in studio?
Yeah, look, I think we've got the best team in town. Super passionate group. We are at the bleeding edge of this technology. I think we've built a really cool business here in Rochester that we're super proud of as a team. And I'd say there's more fun and exciting things to come. So we're not done. We're not done.
Definitely. It sounds like exciting times ahead.
Yeah.
With what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right. Mike, thanks for joining us on the podcast today.
Absolutely.
For our listeners, people can find Mike on LinkedIn under Mike Collier, and also called out Twitter. I was chuckling because when I was doing my research, that was your first profile that popped up was your Twitter. So you can find him at Collier Mike. And for Foundry, you can learn more about Foundry on their website, www.foundrydigital.com. Mike, thanks for joining us on the Wilmac Wire. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Emily. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you for listening to the Wilmac Wire. If you like today's conversation, make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, or watch full episodes on our YouTube channel. You can also learn more about Wilmac Technologies and our work in customer interaction technology at wilmactech.com. We'll be back soon with more conversations with the drivers, those shaping our industry and those building right here in Western New York. See you next time.